Hey guys, it is Jenna, what is up, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome back to another board game video, and welcome back to the first episode in this kind of series that I'm doing. Basically, you guys can tell by the title that this series is going to be revolving around themes in board games. If you do not know, themes are a big part of the board game hobby for me. I am always drawn to board games with themes that I like, themes that I have interest in outside of board games, and so I figured this would be a great way to get people into the board game hobby that may not know that this type of board game exists. Something that they might have an interest in is probably a board game. So without further ado, we are going to be getting into today's theme topic, and that is gardening, farming, flowers, plants, anything like that. Not nature, because that will be another one. But if you are someone that loves gardening and plants, indoor plants, farming, then this one is for you. I will also like to point out that yes, I'm trying out a new lighting setup. I have a very bright light over here which is kind of blinding me, but it is okay. Hopefully this looks good. If not, I'm going to try something else and continue to improve the quality. I do also need to work on my audio, fully aware, but as of right now I'm just using the audio from my camera. I do have an external mic, but I just don't know exactly how to set it up, so I'm going to do some more research and hopefully we can get that working in the future. But anyways, I'm going to stop yapping. We are going to get into this video. If you guys want to see a bunch of different board games based on the theme of gardening, farming, because it is the start of spring, then just keep on watching and let's get into this video. So quickly before we get into the list of games, I just did want to mention that these games are not necessarily games that I've played before or I own. They're just games that, you know, came to mind when thinking about this theme. And I was kind of putting off this series because I felt like I needed to own the games that I talked about. But I feel like with this series, I'm not recommending games for their gameplay, and I don't really need to know how the gameplay is. I'm solely recommending these games for you guys to go check out on your own and check out the gameplay based on the theme. So please keep that in mind. I do have some of the games I'm going to be talking about, but some of these I do not own. I would really love to own all of them, but I have quickly discovered with making videos on YouTube about board games is very expensive. You want to own all of the games that you talk about, and you want to try and play all of these games so that you can recommend them to people, but it's just not possible. It's not feasible. There are some creators that get sent all of the board games, but that is not me right now, and I cannot afford to be buying all these board games. So I really just wanted to recommend you guys games that I have seen that have piqued my interest, because a lot of these themes that I'm going to be talking about in this series are themes that I enjoy personally. So yes, I just quickly wanted to let you guys know that before we got into the list, but let's get into the first game, shall we? So the first game that I'm going to be talking about today is the number one that came to my mind when I thought of the theme gardening. And it's not only because the word garden is literally in the title, but the box art literally has like gardening tools and different things on the front, and it is just gardening in a board game, and that is Cottage Garden. This is one of 3 of the Uwe Rosenberg polyomino kind of tile placing games. I'm not 100% sure if these are available right now. I don't know if they're in print. It's a little bit difficult to find them, but Cottage Garden is one. It is designed by Uwe Rosenberg, like I mentioned, and I believe they're all published by Stronghold Games. And in Cottage Garden, you are placing down different polyomino shaped tiles into 2 separate garden beds, and you are drafting them from a public market board, I believe that is what it's called, and you are moving a die around, and you can only pick from whatever row or column that die is in, and you're just going back and forth with the players, picking different polyomino shaped tiles, placing them onto your gardens. And then once you fill up one of your gardens, you score for that garden, you take it out, and you replace it with another garden. You're just continuing that over and over again until the game is done, and that's pretty much the game. It is absolutely beautiful. The art is gorgeous, and I definitely recommend, if you do see it, to pick it up, because like I said, I don't know if it's in print anymore. Please let me know down in the comments if you know if it's in print anymore. Any of the three, because I would absolutely love to add all three of them to my collection at some point. So yes, that is number 1, Cottage Garden. Next up is a game that I've had my eye on for a while, and that is Flourish. This one looks absolutely beautiful. It is more of a card drafting game with a really cool drafting mechanic where you have your hand of cards, you're picking one, and then you're giving 2 to your one neighbor and 2 to your other neighbor. And then obviously your neighbors are giving you 2. And it's just a really cool mechanic that I've never seen before. The cards have gorgeous art, and I will say that this is designed by James Wilson, which he is the designer of Everdell, which I am a huge fan of Everdell, and his wife, Clarissa Wilson. So that was really cool to hear that it was a husband and wife, and James was the designer of Everdell, which I love. So it was just a game that I am really enticed by. It is gorgeous. You are creating your own little garden in front of you. Much like Everdell, it is a card tableau building game where you're drafting cards, putting them in front of you, and scoring in different ways. And again, the art is gorgeous. There's roses, which your girl's a fan of, and I just am really enticed by this one. That is Flourish. The third on the list is one that I believe is not out yet. I think it's on pre-sale right now, but it is Gartenbau, which this game, if you guys, I'll probably have the cover up here. Oh my goodness, this game is stunning. It is gorgeous. It is designed by Abelson, I believe is his name, as well as Alex Johns, I believe. I always try to like remember these names and like nonchalantly say them on camera like I know, but I literally just have a paper beside me that I read before I film. But yes, they designed this. It is from 25th Century Games. They published it, and it is just a beautiful game. It is a tile placing game, and much like the box, the board is absolutely stunning. It's like a huge, I think it might be a sunflower. It's a huge yellow flower of some sort, and you're moving your player around this flower and drafting different tiles. This is a big tile placing game, but it has a really cool mechanic where you are layering different tiles, which I think is so cool. You start out with these larger square tiles that you want to put on top of everything else. So you are working up to placing those on the third layer, and you're starting off with smaller tiles, and then the ones that you layer over top have to be layered over like certain under tiles, and then the ones that you have at the beginning, you want to layer over top of those. I'm doing a really bad job with explaining this game, but it is beautiful. It's all about creating a garden and layering these tiles, and it's just a very unique game that I would absolutely love to own, not only for the gameplay, but for the look of it. I just think it is absolutely stunning. So that is number 3. That is Gartenbau. I love the name as well. The fourth game is a game called Floriferous. This one is absolutely gorgeous. Again, it is based on flowers. It is another card drafting game, and this one is designed by Steve Finn and Eduardo Baroff. They are the same 2 people, I believe, that designed A Sunset Over Water as well, and they are, or that game is published by Floriferous Games, which is one of the publishers that I just absolutely love all of their games, and I'm just a big fan of Floriferous Games. I will say that a lot of their games are very simple, just smaller box games that are very inviting, and I feel like a lot of first-time gamers would love these games. But Floriferous that is a really hard word to say. It is a card drafting game where there is a big drafting area of cards that you are drafting and creating your own garden in front of you. It's pretty self-explanatory. I didn't really do too much diving into this game. It is a very straightforward card drafting game where you are drafting cards from the middle, putting them in front of you and scoring points in different ways. So this one is, again, very beautiful. I just think flowers in a board game are just gorgeous. So this one is just one that I see and automatically want to play. So again, very inviting. People want to come and play with you because the game is just gorgeous on the table. So that is number 4, Floriferous. Number 5 is a game all about indoor plants, and I don't think this one's coming out for a little bit. I think it just recently finished up on GameFound, if I'm not mistaken, but it is the 3rd game in the Calico Cascadia trilogy, and that is Verdant or Verdant, and this is all about indoor plants, caring for indoor plants, and it just looks like such a fun game. It's a very puzzly game, much like Calico and Cascadia. It is published by Flat Out Games. There is a huge list of people that have went into designing this game. I believe it's Molly, Aaron, and a few other people. But this game looks absolutely beautiful. The art is by Beth Sobel, and she just makes games look absolutely stunning. And it is a, I forget, it's been a while since I looked up this game, but I do remember there being like cards that you're placing in different ways. I will be showing pictures here, but again, very puzzly game, much like Calico and Cascadia, and I am just a big lover of indoor plants, so I am very excited for this one. But that is number 5, Verdant, or Verdant. Not sure how you say it. So moving into the next 3 games, these ones are not just normal gardens, but they are based off of Zen gardens, which I just have a love for like Zen garden themed games. They just bring so much like calmness, and whenever we play these 2 games, there's one that I'm also going to talk about. We do not own it, but I would love to own it eventually. But with the 2 that I'm going to talk about that we do own, that are like Zen garden themed, we always put some Zen music on in the background, and I just absolutely love the way that playing these games make me feel. But the first one that I'm going to be talking about is one of my favorite tile placing games, and that is Miyabi. Miyabi is such a good game, and I feel like it doesn't get enough love. This is such an amazing tile placement game. This one actually has a very similar tile layering mechanic as Gartenbau, the one that we were talking about before, which I absolutely love, and it's such a cool, unique mechanic that you don't see very often. But this is designed by Michael Kiesling, and it is published by Haba, and again, I feel like this game needs so much more love. It is such a relaxing game. You are drafting different polyomino tiles from a public kind of draft pool in the center, and you're placing it on your individual board in different ways, getting points in different ways, and then when you layer on top, you are multiplying. So if it's the 2nd layer, you're getting that score times by 2. If it's your 6th layer, you're getting that score times by 6. So you can really get your points up quickly, and it is just such a great game. Again, we play some Zen music while we play this. I've played this with my parents before, so it's a great intro game if you're looking for one. And I just love this game so much. So that is number 6, I believe. Yes, Miyabi. Moving into the second of the Zen Garden themed games, and that is Tang Garden. This fits in with the theme perfectly. It literally has the name in the title, but Tang Garden is one that I don't know a ton about the gameplay of it. It looks beautiful on the table. The art is beautiful. The box is beautiful. The box is like the one thing that like I see it and I'm like, I want to play that game. I don't care what the game is. I want to play that. But what I've seen of it, it is again another tile placing game. You're placing tiles and you're moving something around. There are some tiles that you're not placing like flat on the board, you're actually placing like this, and it has some like beautiful landscape on it. There's different variable player powers, so you're picking a character at the beginning. There's a bunch of different things going on in this game. I think this is probably one of the heavier of all these games that I'm talking about today, but this one is, I don't want to forget, it is designed by Francesco Testini, I believe is his name, and it is, who is it published by? It is published by Thundergriff Games. Can you guys tell I got my paper over here? But yes, Tang Garden is definitely one that I just see the box, I see the game art, and I automatically want to play it. So that is number 7, Tang Garden. And then lastly, for the Zen Garden games, we have one that I have, pretty sure I've showed this quite a few times on the channel, but it is Ohanami. This is a smaller card game, definitely one of the more inviting games or approachable games. Every time I say inviting, just know that I was meaning to say approachable. But this is designed by Stefan Bandorf and it is published by Pandasaurus Games. This is such an easy, fun, lighthearted game where you are drafting cards, you're taking 2 and then passing the rest to the person beside you, and you're placing them into 3 different gardens or 3 different lines in front of you, and each of the 3 lines or gardens need to be in descending or ascending order, and when you place them you can't put anything in between. So for example, if I put a 65 and then a 68, you can't put anything in between those. So the next time you get cards, you can only do below 65 or above 68. So hopefully I did good explaining this, because I'm pretty sure I didn't do a good job explaining it last time. But this is such a fun game, so relaxing. Much like Miyabi, we always put on some Zen music in the background, and it's just such a good one. We also tend to get sushi before we play this or after we play this. It's a good all-around time with this game. So that is number 8, Ohanami. Number 9 is from the same designer as Floriferous, same publisher, same everything, Eduardo Boroff and Steve Finn, and then published by Pencil First Games, and that is Herbaceous. There's also, I'm pretty sure, Herbaceous Sprouts, which I think might be a roll and write game. I'm not 100% sure, don't take my word for it, but Herbaceous is the one that I wanted to talk about. It's very similar to Floriferous, but it has a herb and more of like a farming side theme, which we're kind of shifting into farm games now. So Herbaceous is very similar to Floriferous. There's just a slight different way of drafting the cards. You're collecting different herbs, and then you're placing those herbs into different like containers that you have in front of you. This one is one, again, that's very not inviting, approachable. It's very approachable. It's just a small card drafting game, and it just looks like a lot of fun. So that is number 9, Herbaceous, or it might be number 8. Who knows? And then moving into 3 more, we have some farming games, which I'm not talking about like Uwe Rosenberg farm games. Like Caverna is one that I could have talked about, but that is a big, like, not only farm game, you're also, you know, making a family with your cave or your dwarfs. You're making a family with your dwarfs, and you have a farm with animals and stuff, but I'm more thinking like farming vegetables. But we're moving on to one that I do own, and that is Three Sisters. Three Sisters is one of my newer games and one that I absolutely love. I've chatted about this before. I think I actually chatted about it in my last board game video, but Three Sisters is designed by Ben Pinchback and Matt Riddle, and it is a roll and write game, which I'm a huge fan of roll and writes, so this one was one that I had to have. In Three Sisters, you are farming or gardening your pumpkins, beans, and corn. I forget what I said last time, but it was not those 3. But it is a roll and write, so you are rolling die and then placing them on a little rondelle track, and then you're drafting from that middle pool, and you're taking one of the die, you're doing 2 actions. So one action is for what number is on that die, and then one action is for where that die was on the rondelle track, and you're just crossing off different things on your roll and write sheets. There is a shed that you can cross off different things, and you can cross off all of your gardens, and it rains, so then you harvest different things. I don't know, it's a lot of fun. I definitely recommend this one. This is one of my most recent favorites, and it is just so much fun. So that is number 10, Three Sisters. Next up is my farm shop. This one looks very cute. The box, I will say, looks pretty childish. I do wish that the art was slightly different in this one, but it looks cute. The game, again, is very inviting, approachable. The art is inviting. I don't know if the gameplay is quite approachable. I do think I remember it being a little bit difficult. There's a lot of different iconography, is that the word? And there's just a lot of different cards and you're rolling die and a bunch of different things, but basically you're trying to make your farm better than your opponents. It looks adorable and I'm really excited to try this one out eventually if I can. But yes, that is my farm shop, which I forgot to say what the designer is. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his name, but you guys would have seen it, and it is published by Pegasus Spiel, which I always have a hard time saying that publisher, but yes, that is my farm shop. And the last game that we're going to be talking about is Reykholt. I believe that's how you pronounce it, but this is surprisingly an Uwe Rosenberg game, which this was one that I did not know about until I was researching on farming and gardening games, but this one looks really cute. I love the box art. It is adorable. It's like a greenhouse, and basically it is a worker placement game, very Uwe Rosenberg if you will, and there are a bunch of different vegetables that you are working to get and I believe to sell. I'm not exactly sure again how this game plays exactly, but it looks really cute. I'm a huge fan of Uwe Rosenberg, and if you are interested in checking it out, I definitely recommend. I believe it was published by, who was it published by? I think it was published by Lookout Games at one point, or Renegade Games. I don't know if it's still being published by them, but as of right now it is Frosted Games, I believe, that I saw. But yes, that is Reykholt, and that is the last game in this little list. Okay friends, so that is everything for this video. Those are all of the garden, farming, floral themed games that I could find, and just ones that I wanted to recommend you guys go and check out because they all look absolutely amazing. Again, I have not necessarily played these games, but the themes look great, the art looks great, and that is something that personally really makes me want to check out a game and play games. So yes, hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Definitely give it a thumbs up if you did. I would appreciate it so much. Also consider subscribing if you have yet to do so, and comment down below any other gardening, floral, flower, farming themed games that I might have missed in this list. Thank you guys so much for spending your time with me today. I love you so much. Remember, you are somebody's reason to smile, and I will see you in my next video. Bye friends!